everyone, safety for me, safety for you, safety for all of us, safety for everyone, safety 360 milligrams, safety 360 milligrams, safety for you, safety for me and you.
Hello, how do you do? You're very welcome to the program Safety 360, the program that critically evaluates issues affecting human life and property. Yes, we take cognizance of issues that challenge humans and its environment. Well, today on Safety 360, we will be talking on something that is born out of a story that has made rounds in the last few days, and is a sad one at that, because it's a serious security concern. Yes, snake bite, safety health issue that needs to be talked about over and again, is a concern that needs serious attention, whether you are in the city talking about urban area, rural area or semi-urban area. It is something that everybody needs to look at, talk about, identifying, prevention, the behavior, and also the emergency response. It is on that note that I have my seasoned guests that will be doing justice to the topic. We're looking at snake bite, response, prevention, and issues arising from. Join me as I am going to make welcome no other person than the chairman, Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association, Rivers State Chapter. He is no other person than Dr. Bolaji here in the studio. You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you, Queenette. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I also have a professor of natural medicine, who is no other person than Madam Anastasia Opebe. You're very welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so just before we kick off on this discussion, let's just take a break.
Safety for me, safety for you, safety for all of us, safety for everyone, safety 360 milligrams, safety 360 milligrams, safety 360 milligrams, for you and me, safety 360.
All right, welcome back. The program is Safety 360, and of course, the whole essence of this outing is to create awareness and talk about safety education. And so, it's going to be interactive. If you are available as your stock to that TV, you could also call, ask your question. Anything you need to find out regarding the topic, you can call via this number 0707-2200-667. I take it again, 0707-220-0667. And you can also reach us on 0911-518-0063. We have experts talking about the veterinary doctor, who is also seasoned in the area of attending to animals and all of that. They also have a professor of natural medicine. Yes, we are here this moment, and I want to kickstart with you, Dr. Bolaji. I want us firstly to talk about snake. How do we, let's talk about how we can identify snakes, what makes snakes come around the human environment, and how do we identify them, and the bites, what draws them, what makes, first of all, what draw them closer, and how do we identify them before we talk about the venomous?
Okay. Thank you, Queenette, for that. Snakes, unfortunately, are more or less like next door neighbors to us right now.
Okay.
And that's because it habits those places.
Okay.
Remember, we have endangered species of animals.
Okay.
So in a place where you want to develop, for example, and you go in there and you see an endangered species of an animal, of course, that approval should not be given.
Okay.
Now, in a place where, for example, you go in and you see a very large population of snakes, you definitely don't want people to go in there. Because you think you're going to clear it, you chase them off. No, that is their natural habitat. So we are going closer and closer to them. But when they come to us, they don't come to us for anything but for food.
Okay.
So they want to eat. Maybe we have chicken, we have rats around and all of that stuff. So because we're constantly going close to them, we're infringing on their natural habitats. So the need for them to search for food outside of their comfort zone becomes more, more needy. So they come out, they come to look for food. Ordinarily, they will just stay away.
Okay, yeah, you've already talked about their behavior. But let's know, talking about species, what kind of snakes do we have around, and at what point? Because you talked about them looking for food, they need to feed and all of that, and we're already trampling upon their own environment. So now, what makes them now go to attack human? At what point do they now attack human?
So a snake would not want to attack you. Like I said earlier, they're looking for food. So unless they feel threatened,
Okay.
one. If they feel threatened, they're confined in a space, they're trying to run, they cannot, you're coming after them, they might attack. Sometimes these bites are accidental. I really feel very sorry for Ifunaya's family. It's a great loss. I mean, such a young, bubbling, lively person. She's a great loss. But in her own case, it was an accidental bite. Despite the fact that it was in her room, we heard she was beaten on the wrist. There are conflicting reports about what truly happened. But let's assume she was beaten on her wrist. Hers was an accidental bite.
Okay.
It was an accidental bite.
Really?
Yes, both of them. She was in her place. The snake was in her room, not looking for her.
Oh.
It's a very hot weather. They're looking for where to cool themselves. Now they get to meet someone there. One way or the other, the snake may have been startled by her. And then, in order to defend itself, beat her. There are instances too where, like I said, we're going into their natural habitat and we find out that maybe snakes might be nesting. They've laid their eggs, they're trying to reproduce their kind. They're very protective. Every animal is protective of its kind. We are protective of our children. We don't want anybody tampering with them. So animals have that instinct as well. They tend to protect it. So these are some of the few instances where, except for maybe very large snakes, the African rock python, the very big ones that go for larger animals, all snakes tend to go for smaller animals that they can easily overcome and then swallow and feed on. So.
Okay. Can you just react to that? What is your thoughts as regards that situation first, talking about the environment and we trying to exceed our point and getting into their
terrains that are not
yes,
ours. Yeah, that's a fact. Indeed, development has overtaken so many things. And for people like myself who are nature lovers, we also feel threatened. When we were driving in here, I looked at your environment and I said, this is what attracts me to NTA each time, nature. And I looked at the houses around, and most of them are totally denatured. And for people like me, it tends to, make me want to retreat. In this case too, we humans have completely encroached into the environment of the reptiles. And indeed, sometimes now we don't know whether we are cohabiting with them, just like in this case of this young lady. And when I heard that unfortunate incident, my first reaction is, this is where we are getting it wrong in Nigeria. Houses are hardly fumigated now. And you know that once the weather is changing, these animals too tend to change with it. if the rains are coming, the environment are getting colder. And of course, it seems to resonate with them. And when it's getting hotter, it actually does not. And so they look for cooler places. In some houses, like has been seen in so many places, the curtains, the drapes hanging in your house, how many times have you ruffled them to see whether anything unusual? Because in some of these places where there are ACs and all, people just feel comfortable walking. I can assure you I've seen cases where the snake was exactly the color of the dress and has been there for months, if not for years. They were fortunate that on that day, and there it was, big. I understand in this particular incident was the case of a cobra, yeah, and this is venomous, it's poisonous. And imagine, we don't have the total story of this case. Some are saying it was in the convenience, some are saying it's on her bed. So we are not sure exactly what it is. But the shock of the moment for the young lady must be terrifying. And that shock may have made her to react in so many ways, which would actually compound it, yes, startle the snake, and also rob her of the chances of survival. So indeed, please, real estate developers, you need to start to think in this direction. Where there are many, like Doctor has said, is it possible to rehabilitate them? Because we know in so many foreign countries, you have, how do you say it? Centers, reserves for these animals. And if they are done like that, I mean, everybody will seem to continue to respect their territory. Has been said also that a snake does not just come out and attack you. It respects the humans. And that's why if you come suddenly into a bush and you encounter a snake, the snake will run first. It's only when you stand your ground, it goes and turns and come back. And if he feels threatened, that's when it will attack. But in this case of it's a domestic attack.
Sorry. Hello? 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 Can we hear you? Your name and where you're calling from? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's a domestic incident, so to speak. And so if it were in the bush or in the forest, you would have asked, why is the person not dressed in the right personal protective equipment?
Okay.
But it's an unfortunate incident. Yeah? So all hands need to be on deck. It's not the first time it's occurring. Even in Abuja, I think this is the second time I'm hearing it. But in other places, it has happened right inside the house. And so fumigation and all.
Okay, before we come to that, because before we come to prevention and then solution, let's talk about, let me talk to you so that you get us understand, talking from the physiology perspective of it. Talk about the venom and how venomous these snake bites can be, and what possible means could be done at that first stage following the venoms of the snake.
Okay, so I think it's important for us to note that not all snakes are dangerous.
Okay.
A lot of snakes are harmless, harmless, non-venomous. So we have snakes that are venomous, we have snakes that are non-venomous. So for the venomous ones, the ones that have poison, so to say, they have the ones that are highly venomous, and then you have some that are mildly venomous. So around us here, we tend to have more of cobras, mambas, and vipers.
Wow.
So of the venomous ones. And then, of course, the non-venomous ones, we know the common green snakes. A lot of the water snakes are non-venomous as well. And then, of course, the python. They are non-venomous, but their size scares us, a whole lot. So, of all the snakes, they act differently. So their venom might either be cytotoxic, so it means it destroys cells. That's the case where you see a bite, and then give it a few hours, you see it's as if you poured acid on the skin. The skin is eating up like dead, the tissues are dead. That's cytotoxic. Then you have the neurotoxic venoms that go into the body and affect the nervous system, affect your ability to move, your ability to breathe, especially, And then you also have the third type of toxin, that a venom that would affect the blood. Okay. So it affects the blood, causes death of red blood cells, and that, of course, we know all the problems that can attend. Some of these snakes have a combination of both.
Okay.
Yeah, but rarely the three of them.
Okay.
You guess it. So when these things happen, usually we have a very short window to act, because the snake has the ability to deposit its venom deep inside, not just on the surface. It goes really deep, and the longer the fangs, that's the thing that looks like a teeth that's just on the mouth of the snake. The longer the fangs, the greater its ability to deposit venom deeper inside tissue. And so the deeper the tissue travels, the faster it is able to spread as well.
All right, so Prof, you were almost talking about prevention, but I need us to take this little clip, then we'll come back, talk about how we can prevent or actually reduce in the BRS to the BRS minimum, how reduce the presence of snake around our immediate environment. Already there are constraints, but let's take a look at this. This is where the sumo is, but it has an opening. There used to be, is now covered. Okay, this is an opening, and you could do this to fit in very well. You could fit it in very well. That clips seem to be showing us some little openings and holes where. So now, Ma, let me come back to you. Tell us, how can we prevent rodents, not just snakes, other rodents, from coming into our immediate environment?
Thank you very much. I also just want to chip in that apart from the poisonous snakes, there are the cobblers and python that doesn't bite. They constrict by tying the person and squeezing to death. So all of that can be common in some places. Talking of prevention, I have said it. A lot of our environments are dirty. And of course, when they are dirty, you heard it, the food of most snake is rats. And so when the rats are roaming everywhere, you should begin to be concerned, because these may follow the track. And of course, some of the rats find themselves into the houses, not just the compound.
Okay.
So you find that it's important to keep our environment clean.
Okay.
It's also very important to, from time to time, fumigate, so that we can get rid of the rodents and also whatever follows them. Fumigation may not be it all, because there are other, how do you say it, preventive items and products that can be used around the house to scare them away. And in my area of practice, things like bitter kola works very well. This can be crushed and spread around the compound. It can scare many of them away. And in the house, we should also from time to time make sure that we check, we look, especially when you start seeing the cockroaches increasing. It either means the sewage, the suckerways are filling.
Yeah.
And so these also all follow the same track, and they can come through. So it's important to check around and make sure. And of course, if there are openings, if the sewage
Just like we saw.
yes, are cracking,
Yeah.
it's important to pay attention, feel them, because just like we've heard, these things are looking for cool places to chill out, so to speak. And those openings can provide opportunities.
All right. Okay. Now we'll talk about emergency response, and I also engaged emergency response experts. So let's hear his part. Let's see. Let's grab some wealth of knowledge regarding how we can manage a situation of this sort. We'll come back.
Okay, I just want to, answer a couple of questions, Queenette. It's so unfortunate that, in this modern world, somebody could die as a result of snake bite, in Nigeria. One of the questions you asked here is, what should be the first action when someone is bitten by a snake? I can remember vividly while growing up, we had a lot of people, had snake bites, back in the community. And one of the things we used to do is when you are bitten by a snake, immediately somebody around you have to look for something to tie, above where the snake bite happened. If it's on your leg, they have to tie your thighs, just to prevent the venom from traveling so fast to the heart. So that should have been the first thing to do. That simple basic first aid, that anybody should have done at that time, to tie off that, prevent the venom from traveling through the veins before it gets to the heart. Because when it gets to the heart, the person is done. And, every time, every minute, every second counts when there is a snake bite. It depends on the type of snake. I'm not a vet doctor. I'm not a zoologist. But, from general knowledge, we know that there are different species of snakes. Some of them have very fast traveling venoms.
All right, we've heard from the emergency response experts all the way from Canada, and because of time we can't get the other part. So let's hear from you. What do you think would have been the best approach towards that incident that happened to Ifunanya Wangele? Emergency response.
Very unfortunate, really. So, first thing, snake bite. Stay calm. The more active you are, the more your body is working, and the faster the venom spreads. Okay. So you stay calm. So, having to walk from a distance, so you stay calm, and then this is where the government comes in, or private sector investment comes in. Emergency ambulance response. We need that whether we like it or not. So if I would have stayed calm and sat in a place, and then they'll call for the ambulance comes and picks her immediately. We have a window of 20 minutes maximum before anything substantial. After 20 minutes, whatever it is that you're doing definitely will not work. So you stay calm, immobilize, stop movements. What I'm doing now, I'm moving my hands, and that's not going to help. You stay calm. Best position to stay is lying down.
Okay.
Because when the bite site is about the same level as the heart, it slows the rate of spread.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's hear from Prof. What's your take? What should have been the best step and the very first step?
Nobody said whether she was with anybody in the house or she was alone. And so, first of all, the fear, the shock would make some of what we're saying invalid.
Okay.
First aid in situations like this is very important for the emergency response. And she's at home. We don't know how far the hospital is from her. So the first thing to do is to respond with what is available in the house, in the kitchen. Of course, it's important to tie. Is she composed enough to tie herself? But if somebody is there to tie that area, fantastic. But if there is nobody, the first thing to do is to get into your kitchen, pick up an onion, slice it. Place the half of the onions at that point of bite and eat the remaining ones. As you eat this, it helps to neutralize the spread of the venom. And so there are so many other small things that can be done in the house while we're waiting for the medical team to arrive.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your wealth of knowledge that you have added. Dr. Bolaji, thank you so much too for coming. You have heard it. Once you have an incident of that sort, first seek medical attention. In as much as you do what you need to do almost immediately, the first next step to take is seek medical attention. And there is need for government authorities, relevant authorities, to give room for anti-venoms wherever you are. You never can tell what will happen the next time. We don't pray for evil.